Thank you, Adele.
Pleasure. How are you, sir?
Very well, very well. How are you?
I'm very well too. Thank you.
I'm starting my session now. So, guys, Mildred, let me start with you.
Yes.
How are you? How far are you with your reading, your reading material?
To be honest, sir, I haven't really started.
You haven't
I
really
think,
started.
yeah, I think the whole thing about this coronavirus has actually impacted very badly on us because my I just finished my teaching practice, so that actually has made me fall behind a lot. But I'll try and study hard so that I finish the study guide.
Okay. Did you submit the assignments?
Yes, both my assignments I've submitted. I just studied the sections that needed answers for the assignments.
Okay. That's bad. Tendai, how about you? How far are you with your reading?
So I have been reading the study guide, Mr. Fute, and I have read basically throughout the study guide, but I'm still struggling to understand a lot of things.
You've read two
I have read through the study guide. So I have read through the study guide, right?
Oh,
and
through it.
I have read I have read just what I could. I've read to understand, but I'm still struggling to apply what I'm reading, especially within the language that I'm trying to learn, which is isiXhosa. And my assignments, I submitted them, but I failed them very badly. The first one was fine, I had about 70%, but the second one I had 25%. So I'm really struggling a little. I'm struggling a lot.
Are you registered for the Xhosa acquisition module, the Xhosa 1507?
No, I didn't register for that. I only just started with this module. This is my first time choosing this module because I'm doing a course in communication. So I'm not registered for the Xhosa, but I'm just learning it in my own personal time.
Oh, okay. I'm asking because I didn't see you last week. Last Thursday.
Yes, I am in that group, but I realized that what you were teaching and what the group was mainly about is not what I'm learning, but I was supposed to join it. I just got busy. I'm just joining it just for my own personal knowledge, but I didn't know that I was actually supposed to join the AFL2601, not the other one.
Oh, okay. Okay, I understand. So Tendai, I will start with you. You said you read through the study guide, right?
Yes.
What do you think is your problem? You said you're struggling with reading comprehension.
Okay, so what I'm struggling mainly with is I've understood the history around the African languages, and I've understood also the diversity and the structure of the different Bantu languages that we have, particularly I think within Southern Africa. So what I'm struggling mainly is now is what I speak Shona and I can understand like the breaking down of how a word or a sentence is structured. I can almost I can to a small degree understand how that was constructed. In isiXhosa, I'm not really understanding like the prefixes, the nouns, how to like just putting everything together is a bit of a struggle for me.
Okay, so you are struggling with how Xhosa words are constructed.
Yeah, like how to understand how Xhosa works, like how like when you did with us that lesson where I attended the Xhosa lesson, I almost had an understanding from what you were saying of the type of like the pronunciations and the spelling and how a word sounds and how you put it together. But now in AFL2601, it seems to be a bit more advanced for me. So I'm just a bit slow in just trying to catch up in that regard. You know, I don't know if it makes sense, whatever I'm saying.
I hear you, but I'm starting to worry if you registered for the right module, because I think you are more interested in learning isiXhosa.
Yes, I think that was my mistake. So when I registered for this module, I didn't know that I'm registering for just like about African languages, and I wasn't sure. So I actually was quite taken aback by this module. So I must have registered for the wrong module, but I'm already in it and I cannot unregister it. So I need to find a way of just doing it so I can pass it. But I was interested in actually learning isiXhosa, not what I'm learning here.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. So since you've already read the study guide, what do you think this module is about?
I think this module is just about learning, is about making us understand well, as far as possible, where African languages came from and how they are formulated in their different dialects. So be it isiZulu, isiXhosa, Venda, and the different languages that are spoken particularly in South Africa or Southern Africa. So it's a history around that, and also understanding the different classes of the languages that each country or each culture or tribe speaks, and also where some of the languages borrowed from, and also multilingualism, the importance of maybe the diversity and the difficulties maybe in sometimes understanding or knowing other languages, the similarities and the family classes that they come from, and that whole history around African languages, Bantu, especially Bantu African languages, from as far as history is able to take us. That is basically what I've more or less understood. This is this module, what it's about.
Okay.
So now, I need to know which class, closer, like a certain sentence, I'll need to know which class it falls in, where a certain word was it borrowed from a particular language and things like that. I think that is what I kind of got the understanding. I'm not 100% sure if I'm correct, but that's what I got as an understanding.
Mildred, do you agree?
Agree with what she has been sharing.
What do you think the module is about?
Yeah, as Tendai has mentioned, I think it's
part you've read.
I don't know if it's my network that's a problem, but I think you're breaking or it's from your side. So I missed a few things that you said.
Okay, I'm asking. I think you read 2 chapters. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
So, from what you have read so far, what do you think this module?
I think it's all about where the African languages came from, as Tendai mentioned, the history of the African languages, and also the structure of the language. As she also mentioned, the classes, like the class prefixes of the African languages, similarities and differences. So as I mentioned that I haven't really gone through the study guide. So a lot of things I haven't really mastered because I haven't gone through the study guide.
Okay. From what you've read, right? What is okay, let me ask you this way. The study guide, when you read it, is it easily accessible? Do you is the information, is it easily understandable?
I think with time, if one has enough time to say, go through the study guide and then come back again and maybe concentrate on areas that are a bit challenging, I think it's understandable. Just like Tendai, I'm also Shona speaking. So
yes,
for me, I'm also trying to use the Xhosa language as my African language. So it's,
yes.
I think I'm a bit better than Tendai. I don't know, but I think I'm better than Tendai because I work with Xhosa speaking people. So quite a few things I do understand. I can easily speak Xhosa, but I think it's the structure of the language that I need to actually get a grip on. But I think with time, I'll be able to pick one or two things, especially with your help. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay, but the study guide, the language used in the study guide, is it easily understandable?
I think the study guide itself, the language, I think it is understandable. Because I've done also English, the English modules. So I think it's more or less like the English modules. It's only that we need now to give examples in Xhosa. So that link, I think that is something that needs to come together.
Okay. Tandai, do you agree? Do you think the study guide is the language is easy to understand?
Yes, I do agree, Mr. Pute. The study guide is easy to understand. So I had no problems reading through it. It's straightforward and it's simple. But like what Mildred just said, the last part, that you've got the English understanding of things, but now putting it together in isiXhosa, maybe that is mainly the big challenge, like just knowing how to bring that together. As I was answering the assignments and now knowing which words or how do I put this in isiXhosa, but it is it's very simple, it's understandable, the study guide itself.
Okay. I'm glad I'm glad both you guys find the study guide. Damn, I'm unable to my thing my presentation, but it's fine. My AFL, yeah.
Redondology, can you share?
Yes, Adele.
Can you share your
presentation?
Yes, Adele. Can you share your presentation?
Yes, I can share my presentation, but my PowerPoint isn't opening, so
okay, no, okay, so it's on your side. Okay.
PowerPoint. Okay, now it's opening. So I was saying, I'm glad that you both are able to read the study guide without problems. So let's test that your understanding of these texts. This one text. So I had a few problems when I read the study guide, right? What is can you both tell me what is the idiolect?
The idiolect.
Yes.
I can't remember. I don't know.
You don't remember?
Yeah.
Okay, but what about what is the dialect?
A dialect. I think a dialect is a language. Is a type of language sound.
Mm.
A type of language sound.
Sound and structure.
It's a type of language sound and structure.
I think so.
You think so? Okay, so what is a dialect cluster?
Sorry, what is it?
Dialect cluster.
It's a group. I think it's a group of. It's a group of. It's a group. It's a language that has got similar sounding words and structure. So it's similar.
It's a group of.
It's a group of a language that sounds similar. That has a similar sound and structure and yeah.
So it's
Now,
group of languages.
yes.
Like, do you mean like Shona, Xhosa, Zulu, Tswana?
I mean Xhosa in itself as a language, it will have different words and different structures that are grouped together to identify it as is it Xhosa or if it's Shona or if it's Zulu. That's what I mean. I don't know if it's correct though.
Yeah, I think from the sound of it, I agree with Tendai. It's probably just putting it clearly to really make sense, maybe the way that you're expecting. I agree with you that it's actually maybe within the same language, and then you have like maybe the people in this with the same language, but they speak it differently, I think. So you'll have like maybe you have Soto, Tswana, they are similar, but you can actually tell that there is a difference from the way they speak.
Okay. So 2 more questions. Okay, one. I'll group this in one question. I'll put this both things in one question. So what is the phonetics and the phonology? What is the difference there?
Sorry, I don't know if you want to start, but for Mildred, I'm thinking phonology is the sound of words, of language.
Okay. Mildred, do you agree? Oh no, can I? You said phonology is, so like, what is phonetics?
Like the speech, like the sound of like when the speech, the way it sounds, that's the phonetics. Is it phonetics or phonology? That's what I'm thinking.
So what is the sound? Is it phonology or phonetics?
It's phonetics. Then the group is called, I don't know why it's now called phonology, but the sound itself of speech is phonetics, and then the group itself might be phonology. I'm not too sure exactly what it means as phonology.
Okay, Mildred, what about you?
I agree that phonetics is actually the speech sounds. And then phonology, I think it is the study of these speech sounds.
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm hearing a lot of, I don't know. I think I'm not sure. I hear a lot of these, and these are very dangerous in academics, right?
Okay.
So I'm asking this because today we're gonna do language reading comprehension, right? To to learn language, what do you need? You need vocabulary.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
When you read academic texts, there are 3 different vocabulary types that you get. You get general vocabulary. About 80% of academic texts are made up of general vocabulary. But these are words like the, because, from. So these, even though they make up the biggest percentage of the text, they are words that are not very important to the text.
Okay.
So another type is technical vocabulary. Technical vocabulary are words that are unique to that field. If we're talking about psychology, so we're gonna mention words like ego. Do you guys know what ego is?
Yes.
What is it, Tenai?
Ego is basically, I think, just how a person has a personal identity to themselves, how they choose to view themselves, and how they choose to carry themselves.
Okay, but are you sure in psych that's the definition of ego?
No, that's not the actual definition of ego. I'm just diluting it. I'm not giving like a textbook, a dictionary text definition of it.
No, but your understanding of ego, the ego you just described, are you sure that this is the same ego that they talk about in psychology?
No, in psychology, it's a different kind of ego.
Here's where I'm going with this. A scholar, I don't know if you know Nation, he wrote a lot about language vocabulary. So he says to have knowledge of words, you need to know their meaning in different contexts. So if we are talking about ego, if you see ego in your text, in your academic text, how sure are you that the meaning you know is actually how sure are you if this is an example. Let's say phonetics in linguistics mean a study of sounds and whatever. But in geography, phonetics means a color. So if you run into if you read a text and you see a linguistic text and you see the word phonetics, how sure are you if they are really talking about the study of sounds and not the color of water or whatever? So this is what I'm saying. You have general vocabulary, you have technical vocabulary, words that are unique to that field, and you have what is this thing called? You have 3. Why is my thing not opening? Can you guys see my screen?
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet. Let me try. Let me try. Can you now see it?
Not yet.
There's a black screen. Okay,
Yes.
I can see it now.
Yes.
Oh, thank God, thank goodness. So what I'm talking about is let me quickly go to Where's my thing? Where's my thing? Where's my thing? Okay, academic vocabulary. There are three types. You have general vocabulary, academic vocabulary, and technical vocabulary. General vocabulary has like covers 80% of the text. Academic and technical vocabulary cover the remaining 20. But the thing is, here's the thing, that 20 are the most important words in that text. They cover exactly what the main idea. For instance, phonetics is the main idea, right? And then there's a discussion about phonetics where they discuss dialects and everything. But those help you understand phonetics. So that's the main idea. Right?
Okay.
Guys.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So before now, we like I said, we're gonna do reading comprehension. Oh, let me clear this first. Can I show I've already mentioned in the previous sessions with the Cluster 1507 group.
Yes.
That my job. Sorry, live. Hello, live. 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 If you can hear me, can you write your student number in the chat box? Live CITA. Okay. So Mildred and Tendai, I'm not a tutor, right? I'm a facilitator. So my job is to talk about skills that you guys can use to understand your reading materials, right?
Okay.
I will go through all the units with you. We will break down the content together. I just need that to be understood before we start. So
yes, thank you.
Yes, we really appreciate that.
So today all right. So tonight I'm focusing on reading comprehension. I've already asked you guys if this is easy to understand, and you both say it is easy. Then when I ask you to give me the definition of the terms, of the items, 3 items, I think. I asked you about 3 items. Like I said, I hear a lot of I'm not sure, I don't know, all these other things. Now, here's the thing. This your reading material is I think it's more than 100 pages, right?
Yes.
I think
109 pages.
109.
Yes.
Are you saying it's 109? That's a
109,
long
109 pages.
109. Okay, that's a long text. That means you're gonna do a lot of reading, and you're gonna have to remember a lot.
Yeah.
But for you to remember exactly what you've read, you need to understand every word in every paragraph. So you need to possess to be able to understand academic text. You need to have sufficient vocabulary, sufficient knowledge of vocabulary.
Yes.
So here's the thing. All academic texts are not very easy to understand. So that's why when I asked you guys, when you said they are easily understandable, I was like, maybe I need to challenge your I need to challenge what you're saying. And okay, like I said. So vocabulary size, I just said this, vocabulary size determines your level of understanding, right? In any language, right?
Yes.
If I start speaking to you in XHO1507, you're not gonna understand. Not because you are dumb, but because you do not have sufficient vocabulary to understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
The same thing is true in when reading texts that are written in a foreign language, in a second language, third language, fourth language, and so on.
Yes.
So here, what happens now? What happens when you don't understand a word? Whenever you don't understand a sentence, it means that word to you doesn't exist, is not even there. There's a space to you. You might as well have stars instead of that word. You can be able to pronounce a word, but without understanding its meaning in that context, that word to you doesn't exist. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So here's a paragraph that I took from the reading material, right? So I underlined phrases that I do not understand, words that I do not understand. If you take out these words, let me go to my. Let's take out these words. Cognate, right? These are the words that I do not understand.
Yeah.
Unravel, archaeological. Okay, Linguistic data. So here's what I talked about, right? Most of these words are general vocabulary. This is general vocabulary. You see on the basis, you see of the majority of these words fall under general vocabulary, but I just took out like 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 phrases. Now, do you think if I read that paragraph, will I understand what it's about?
No.
But I just took out 7 and I left about 95% of the text is still there. I should be able to understand it, right? Because it's 95%. I just took out like 5% of the text, but I'm not able to understand that paragraph. Why? That's what I'm talking about, is academic and the technical vocabulary. Without the understanding of academic and technical vocabulary, your understanding of the text is impossible. You will not be able to understand the text, the meaning of the text without that 5%. So what do you do when you don't understand that? Tendai, what do you usually do when you run to unfamiliar words?
So it depends. If I'm reading a book that is for pleasure, I usually will have time, so I can always check it up. I have a little note, and I can check it up later for meaning. But if I'm reading academic text, then my mind just freezes, and then I kind of just go over that text and then sum up what I think I've understood without checking what that word means.
Okay. But when you read the reading material, did you have did you stop and look up words?
So some of the words I know them from some of my studies that I've had with UNISA. So some of the words I'll know them, but maybe at that time I might not have a textbook definition. I'll just have an idea because it's a familiar word that I know. So I will know phonology has got something to do with sound, but I won't now go further to actually really now understand what does that even really mean. So then I just skip over that without really verifying, because maybe I've met that word in previous studies or in some other reading. So that's what I normally do. But what I don't know, sometimes honestly I don't check to see what it means, or if I do have time and I really need to know, then I do have an Oxford dictionary with me, then I will check up the meaning of the word.
See what you just said, Tendai, is the mistake that most of us as students and readers of academic texts make. We make that mistake a lot. The scholar that I mentioned earlier, Nation, talks about the knowledge of words. A knowledge to fully know a word is not just the ability to pronounce the word, right? Is not the ability to understand the word in one context. It is to understand how it is pronounced, how the meaning changes with context, how the meaning of the word change, how the meaning of the word is connected to the words that appear together with it. So if you're gonna say, I know this term from another module that I'm doing, that's a different context. It's like for instance, I majored in XHO and psychology.
Yes.
These are very different. I also did sociology. So
Yes.
in sociology, if they are talking about ego, it's really not the same ego that they are talking about in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
If I read psychology text with the knowledge that I have of that word from sociology, then I will miss out a lot from by making that assumption that I know that word.
Yeah. No, I understand. I understand, Mr. Pute. I'd actually never really thought of it like that, but I've actually made a note. I've never thought of it in that way, but I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So this brings me to my sorry, live. Are you still there? Live? Live, are you there? Live CIT, are you there? I need your student number. Please write your student number in the chat box, please. So, okay, Mildred, when you read the reading, the reading materials, the study guide, did you have reading aids?
As I mentioned that I haven't really gone through the study guide. The sections that I read are the sections that were in assignments. So usually what I usually do with words that I don't really understand, unfortunately I don't have a dictionary that's at this level. So usually I Google words and then I maybe write the meaning in pencil just next to the word that I don't understand. So I think from what you've been explaining, I think sometimes that's the mistake also that I do, because probably Google give me a definition which does not really apply to this module, because
Yes.
because meanings are actually usually contextual.
Yes. Another problem with your process, your method is that if you're reading a paragraph and you don't understand, let's say you don't understand three important, let's use my example, the 7, right? These 7, the 7 words and phrases that I just took out. Let's say I was reading that paragraph and I didn't understand those words and I underlined them so that I can look them up when I'm done. Do you think that means I understood the paragraph if I look them up later?
No.
If I read phonetics is this, and I see the word synchronic study, and then I just I underline that word and then look it up later.
No, that won't be helpful. I think we need to look up the words as we read them, so that when we continue with the sentence, it makes sense.
I agree, and that's why before you read, you need to have these things. Before you read any academic text, you need to have these you need to have reading aids. You need to have, there are a couple that you can have. You can have a dictionary. There are different dictionary types. I would recommend that everyone buys a especially you guys, since you want to learn isiXhosa, you should buy a collocations dictionary, because instead of learning words, you will learn collocations. Learning words is very important. Don't get me wrong. Learning words is very important, but the meaning of words depends on the words that it appears with. You're gonna use these words in sentences. You can know what igama means,
Yeah.
but you need to use that word in a sentence. So it's more important to learn gubani igama lakho than just to learn igama.
Yeah.
Because you can know 10 words, but how are you gonna use those words in a sentence? So that's why I recommend everyone to have a collocations dictionary. You can have a thesaurus. You can have the Microsoft drop down tool. Do you know the thing that you use to let me see if I can, the thing that you use to look up synonyms.
Yes.
Can you see your screen?
Oh, okay. I can see
Can
the
you see what I'm
synonym.
doing? Yeah. So when you're reading online, when you're reading your Microsoft readings, you can use the drop down tool. You can use the internet. We do Google phrases, because most dictionaries just define words. So what happens when you don't know, when you want the meaning of a phrase? For instance, if I see let me go to that text. What if I say I don't understand what synchronic study is? I'm not gonna find that in a dictionary. I'm not gonna find the meaning of synchronic study in a dictionary. So I need to go online. I need to use Google. Let's use Google for that. I'm sure Google is gonna tell it is. Okay, my internet is a bit slow. No. So the things that you need, like I said, the things that you need a dictionary, different types. You need all the reading aids, basically. Why do you need these reading aids? Because you need to understand words. You need to understand words in different contexts. You need to understand other words that you can use. For instance, if you learn isiXhosa, there is a cap for to close something, right? But if you're gonna say a bottle cap and a what is something to close a pot. Okay, I'm struggling to explain this, but in isiXhosa to a lead, yeah. Live, that was you, right? I need your okay. I have your student number. Thanks. So in isiXhosa, hold on, where's my thing? In isiXhosa, when you close a pot, we say we are trigger. But when you close when you close the door, uyalivala. If you don't have collocational knowledge, you're not gonna understand the difference. One thing iyacikwa and the other iyavalwa. Like ibhotile cika imbiza, cika ibhotile. Ibhotile ayicikwa, iyavalwa. Imbiza iyacikwa. You do get that, Tendai and
So both of them are closing something, if I understand, Mr. Pute. One is closing a bottle and the other one is closing a door.
yeah, yes, but in closer you use two different words.
I can hear. Okay, I understand.
In English, you use the word close for both a bottle and a pot, but in isiXhosa you use two different words. You use ukucika and ukuvala.
Yes. And what
So,
is that? What are those different words called, Mr. Pute? Like where is that what you're talking about, where you need to have the vocabulary for knowing the difference of what to use?
What I'm saying is, can you ask your question again?
You said there's ukutika and then uyavala. So now the fact that I have to choose one of those words within a sentence, is that what you are trying to say? Like, from my understanding, that I have to first have the vocabulary for those words so that I can be able to place them correctly in the sentence or in what I'm trying to put across.
That collocational knowledge is very important for you to know that. Yeah, okay. Your knowledge of collocations, right?
I'm just writing it down. Collocations. Thank you.
Yeah. Look up collocations. Collocation are words that normally appear together, like it's raining cats and dogs, and making coffee instead of creating coffee. You see, you do not create coffee, you make coffee. But if I do not understand English collocations, it's easy to say we create. Huh? Are you saying something?
No.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying, if you don't understand English collocations, it's easy to say because we created a website, because create and make are synonyms. It's easy for you to mistake that, to use the word create to say I'm creating coffee, or I'm creating dinner, or I'm creating lunch or whatever. But you cannot use that word to say you are creating dinner, because you're supposed to make dinner. I'm not sure if you're following.
Yes. No, I have understood. I followed. I've understood. Thank you.
All right. So these are the things that you need before you read. You need your dictionary. You need your all your reading aids. You need another thing that you need is a pen and a notepad. Because remember, a text is supposed to be a dialogue. It's supposed to be a dialogue between you, the reader, and the author. the author is saying something to you. It is your job to understand what he's saying. To understand what he's saying, you need the help of a dictionary, the internet, the whatever you can get your your hands on to understand what he's saying, right? So you need your notepad. Do you guys make your own notes when you read?
Yes.
Yes, usually I do.
In what language do you make your own notes? Do you draw? Do you ever? Yes.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening, Mr. Putte.
For me, sometimes it depends with the type of text. Like sometimes maybe let's say we have like bullet points or some points that go together. Sometimes I make like mind maps. So at least it's a visual, then it's easy to remember.
And you make arrows, right? Good. That's the importance of making your own notes, because you are interpreting what the author is saying. Like I said earlier, text, vocabulary, general vocabulary makes up about 80% of that of a text. You do not really need that general vocabulary. So when you make your own notes, you can just make skeletons of what he means. You can most people make bullet points. Like if you're talking about dialects, Xhosa dialects, instead of saying the Xhosa has 6 dialects and you just say Xhosa dialects, and then the first point, 6 dialects, the different types, Amampondo, and all the others. There are 6. So Amampondo. Okay, this is not about that. Let me not get carried away. So you need your pen and your notepad to make your own notes. Also, do you guys gloss your text?
Beg your pardon?
Do you gloss your text? Your reading materials?
What do you mean when you say gloss?
Highlighting what?
Huh?
What does it mean to?
Sorry, Mildred, you can go ahead. I'll go after you.
Oh, no, I was saying, what does it mean to gloss? Is it highlighting or what? Now you're also using vocabulary that.
No, sorry. Sorry. Do you make your do you write on your do you write on the margins, or do you highlight your difficult words, important words? Do you circle words and then write the easier, let's say a synonym or a definition of a word, maybe in your own language, maybe in or maybe you just draw an arrow and make the example that the lecturer made, or the example that you found on the internet, or do you do that? Is your study material clean?
No.
No, I use personally. I use highlighters. So I've got a whole lot of different highlighters. So every time I'm reading something, I highlight it, and I use a different highlighter to specify something specific to me that I'll understand as I do my revision and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I also write notes usually in pencil.
Yes.
And also, so when I write notes, like I explained earlier on, like a word that I don't understand, if I look up the meaning, then I write the meaning next to that word, so that even when I come back, I will actually I'll read, probably skip the original word and insert what I've actually Googled or what I found out about that word.
Yeah. See, doing that is interpreting the meaning instead of cramming what the author is saying. I don't know if you know what translanguaging is.
No.
Translanguaging is processing a text written in one language in a different language. It is reproducing a text in a different language. For instance, we can give you the reading material that you have. It's written in English, right?
Mm.
Yes.
And then for your assignment, I can ask you to write what phonetics is, what dialects are, the relationship between the three: phonetics, phonology, and dialects in isiXhosa. What that does is it takes out it eliminates rote learning when you just cram what is written in the study guide. When you, because what we do, most of us do this. We read something like history, the study of life, and then more than half of the student in that class repeat that same sentence. That doesn't really mean you understood the sentence. It just means you took that as it is, and then you put it down in the exam or whatever. That's why many of us get 80 and 90, and then when it comes to doing oral presentations, then we get stuck because we don't really understand what we read. We just memorize it for that period, and then we forget it 2 weeks later because we don't really understand the subject matter. We just cram what we need to cram for that period, and then yeah. But I'm saying I'm trying to show you I'm trying to talk about the importance of writing your own notes. It is interpreting in your own understanding what the author is saying, meaning it is a dialogue. It is now between both of you. Now you are able to say, you are able to critique the author because you know what he's saying. Many texts are written, many texts that we read are written in by Western scholars, right? We have people like Freud and people from the West. They do not know what an African child goes through, how we grow up, and all these things. So they are theories their studies are not really for everyone. So if you understand what they are about, you are able to say, no, this is not how I grew up. This is not how this is not what I went through. Maybe this is not for me, or he is not talking about me. So when you write your own notes, when you make skeletons, that's you are able to understand the gist of what the author is saying, the textual knowledge. You are able to get the textual knowledge and maybe leave out all the other stuff that is not necessary. So let me quickly go to the next slide. So these are the things that you need. You need a pen and a notepad to make notes. You need reading aids before you read. Now, when you read, remember that the text is written the same way it was explained to you when you were in grade 1. Every text, it has an introduction, the body, and the conclusion, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. The introduction still introduces what is going to be discussed, right? Nothing very important. They just, if you see an abstract is not discussing anything in detail. It just tells you what this is about, and then you're gonna see an introduction. An introduction tells you what's to come. It's not gonna discuss anything. When you're a reader, you need to know that before you engage with the reading material. What you are looking to find is in the body. Nowhere else, not in the conclusion, not in the introduction, not in the not in the extract. It's in the body, and the conclusion still summarizes what was discussed in the body. If you know the structure of all text, then you know where to find what you need. Speaking of what you need, now what you need is the meaning, the overall meaning, right? That's the only reason that we read academic text. The author is saying something. The question is, what is the author saying? So when you read, my advice is have a reading plan. Skim through the text. If you know how academic texts are written, you know that you can have an idea of what a text is about by just skimming through the text, by looking at the headings and the subheadings. For instance, these are the headings and subheadings in your reading materials. If you see these, you can clearly see that the text is not about skateboards. The text is not about wrestling. The text is not about I don't know, sci-fi movies. The text is about language, African languages and dialects. So if you see if you look at the headings and subheadings, you can get an idea of what the text is. I'm not sure if you're following.
Yes, makes sense.
Okay. Every paragraph has its own meaning, right? Every idea, we discuss every idea in a paragraph. If you don't do that, then you're not a good writer. If I'm going to talk about the history of Bantu languages, for instance, I will talk about dialects in one paragraph. I will talk about let's say, okay, I will talk about the history, like the language families in one paragraph or two paragraphs. Then I will talk about, we don't mix things. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't talk about language families and dialects in one paragraph. We don't do what we used to do in primary school, where we talk about the first paragraph is about the history of African languages, and then before we write the conclusion, we remember that there's a point that we didn't we forgot in the to put in the first paragraph, and then put it in the second last paragraph. That's not how academic text. Every paragraph has its own meaning. If you look at the first sentence, you can pretty much see what that paragraph is about. That's why when we're looking for, let's say we're looking for types of something, we don't read the whole text. We just look at the first sentences of every paragraph, and we're gonna see if they're gonna discuss the types, if they're gonna discuss how the construction of Xhosa sentences, the dialects or whatever. Here's an example, right? These examples I took from your reading materials, the study guide. The first sentence of one paragraph is indigenous African languages, which are official languages in South Africa, belong to a family that is known as the Bantu languages. And Bantu languages is written in bold letters. So that paragraph, you can see what it's about. That paragraph is not gonna discuss the relationship of African languages with English, right? The second paragraph is the relationship between the Bantu languages and the other languages of Africa has become an important part of discussion. You can see that you can almost see where the following sentence is going. I'm not sure if I'm clear in this. The first paragraph of first sentence of a paragraph, sorry, is in South Africa, 4 groups of languages are recognized: the Nguni group, the Sotho group, the Tsonga group, and the Venda group. So you can see that they're going to discuss those groups of African languages. I'm going to quickly move on to the now. Yeah. Now, like I said, the text is saying something, right? There's subheadings, and the headings guide you to the overall meaning of the text. The different meanings in every paragraph are building to the overall thing. If you are reading an academic paper on a psychology paper on personality, you're gonna have id is gonna discuss in one paragraph, characteristics of it, ego, superego, all of those. But those different things add up to the overall thing. They are talking about you are learning about the personality, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think everything. This is the text. Text A is one paragraph from your reading material, your study guide. When you read with a dictionary, when you read with understanding, when you read and you understand every word, this is what a paragraph is. When you read without understanding, this is actually what a paragraph is. To you, the words that you don't understand are just stars. Yes, you can pronounce them, but they mean nothing to you. You can talk about you can read programming is this or Facebook is programmed like Twitter, but if you don't know the meaning of programmed, that word means nothing to you. Yeah, you can pronounce it and your reading is good, but for you to understand what is said, you need to understand every word that is used. Yeah. So before it's almost 7. Before, let me just minimize my thing. We talked about you what you found easy and difficult when you were reading the study guide. Now, what are you hoping to get from a facilitator? What are you struggling with? What are you hoping to get from this module? From this session, sorry.
Okay, Mr. Pute, you're closer speaking.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so from my side, I think, as I mentioned, bringing the study material and the closer examples together, I think that will be the most important thing for me. From today's session now, I've also realized that it is also important to be equipped to actually understand what we are reading. So I think I would try and follow your advice so that at least I understand the text, and then maybe if I can read in advance, maybe if you can tell us what we'll be focusing on, maybe like next week, and then we study in advance, and then if we have questions now, I think that will be very helpful if you can actually assist us with that.
Okay, when you say the closer material, what exactly do you mean?
Okay, I'll give an example of maybe the noun classes. I'll just give an example of that. Say maybe we don't really understand. Like I'll give an example. When I was doing my assignment, I'll think maybe of a word in English, and then I'll go to Google Translate and try and find a closer version of that word. And then also maybe ask my friends and my colleagues who are closer speaking to assist me with maybe some more examples. So I think that's where I'm actually lacking. I do understand Xhosa, but my vocabulary is not that deep. So there are some questions that will need like examples from the Xhosa language, and then maybe I don't have that available. So maybe if you can maybe just assist us to be able to maybe give the examples of Xhosa words that are needed for, because I think we might get marks for actually giving a certain answer, but I think there's more marks to giving an example in the language of our choice.
Okay. Okay, I hear you. Tendai, what are you hoping to get from these sessions?
So, Mr. Kute, I'm also hoping to get more or less what Mildred has already highlighted, where for me, though, my vocabulary and my connotational words in isiXhosa is very poor, and I'm still a very early beginner student in the language. I'm just hoping for this module to be able to just have an understanding of if I use English and if I can think of the word in English, how I can apply it in the isiXhosa language, and also to just have a deeper understanding of, not deeper, like a better understanding of the structure of the language in isiXhosa. Like I've understood a little bit about the family, the families that it falls into, and I've understood a little bit about Bantu languages themselves as history. But I'm struggling with the rest of the text of the study guide. So I'm just hoping to get some direction on what I can do to improve how I can understand the study guide and be able to, maybe for now at least, pass my exams.
Yeah, I hear you. Here's the thing: if you read to understand the study guide, it's actually very straightforward if you understand the vocabulary. Unfortunately, the vocabulary, you expand your vocabulary by reading, by using reading aids.
Mr. Pute,
right?
If you are sorry to I just want to ask you,
no,
if you are
fine.
reading the guide, the study guide, are you referring to reading it in the way that it's been presented using English, and as well as giving examples in maybe Northern Soto or any other language? Is that what you're referring to?
I don't get it. I don't get the. Am I referring to reading
Sorry, no,
it
I'm just asking you. You said that in order for us to have a better understanding of the study guide, we need to have the aids that you've explained to us that we need to have. So my question to you is, this is in reference to understanding it as it's been presented in the English language. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And also the trans language that you were talking about, I think.
Yes, I was gonna say before you asked that question, I was gonna say Google Translate is I would say Google Translate is, if I had to rate Google Translate, I would give it a 60. So for me, it's not really helpful.
Yeah.
Now, if you understand isiXhosa, like I'm a translator, right? I translate. A week ago, I was translating a wine document. I used Google. I do have a dictionary, a bilingual dictionary, but I used Google Translate for I want to be careful when I say this. To get a clue of how to use words that I've forgotten how to use. I'm not sure if that is making sense. I didn't really look to Google for translations, because Google Translate, what it does is it doesn't give you it
The
just
correct
just
words.
give you
Sometimes it doesn't give the correct words.
yeah. So if you do not know isiXhosa, you're gonna assume that that word is correct, and then you're gonna use that word in a context that it doesn't fit in. So I would recommend that you buy if you go to CNA, they have a bilingual, it's a small bilingual dictionary. Tendai for what
Yes,
you just asked, you can use
yes, I did buy the bilingual dictionary, so that's really helpful now for me as well. So it's kind of helped a lot with a lot of the reading now.
see, if you use a bilingually to check Xhosa equivalents of what you are reading in English, that's more reliable than
Google Translate.
Google Translate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then maybe I shouldn't say this, but dictionaries also you need to know how to look for information in dictionaries, because dictionaries they give you, let's say, for ukulala, or let's say umbala, the word umbala, they will give you different Xhosa equivalents, right? English equivalents, because it's a bilingual dictionary. So they will give you, when you say umbala, they will say ibala. They will say skin, color of your skin. They will say a field. They will say color of your skin, a field, ibala. What is ibala? Okay, they'll give you those two, right? So how will you know as a non-native speaker? How will you know that you're supposed to use the color of skin or the field? Because if for example I say the kids are playing abantwana badlala ebaleni, and then you want to understand, or abantwana bebedlala kwibala, and then you go and look up ibala, what is ibala, and then the first equivalent that you see is the color of your skin, and then you use the first one, the first that you see. You use, see, it's not gonna, it's inappropriate in that context. So
yeah,
what I'm saying is the dictionary you need it requires knowledge. Yeah.
all right.
But
I think it's
I'm not
better with
saying
the dictionary. I think it's better with the dictionary because you can also make sense from the context, unlike Google, which will just give you a word.
Yeah.
So you don't know if the word is the correct word or it's
Yes, no. Dictionaries are definitely better than. I'm not trying to discourage you from buying a dictionary. I'm just saying, be very
Careful.
Yeah. All I'm saying is you're gonna see different. They will give you 2 or 3 equivalents, and then choose wisely. Use ask other people for
From the choosing wisely, is that not where now you have to apply the context, where at least with the dictionary, even though you are being given different options, but from the sentence that maybe I might be reading, I have an idea of the context, or I apply the context of what it's trying to say, and then I use the word appropriate. Is that not going to be useful, or it can be still difficult in that regard?
I didn't get the question.
Okay. What I'm just trying to ask is that you are saying that with the dictionary, we need to use it carefully because it can sometimes give the first option that it might give. For example, the one that you gave with the skin color, it might be giving skin color when you want maybe a different word for that, but the word is the same. So what I'm just trying to say, or what I'm trying to ask from you, or make sure that I understand is, if I understand the context of the sentence, can that still not be useful? Yes. Can that still not help me choose the correct word better by using a dictionary as compared to using Google Translate or any other form of translation that's out there?
If you know the context, hopefully you will know the right word to choose, the right option to choose, because you're gonna have 2 or 3, right?
Yes. Yes.
Then if you choose the wrong, not really the wrong, but the one that's not appropriate for
that context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it's easy to end up talking about skin color when the text is about the boys playing in the field, and then all that. That was just an example, maybe a bad example. Yeah.
No, but I understand. I understand.
So before you guys go, can you there's a feedback form. If you can just please complete that, and then we'll meet again next week.
Mr. Kute, can I please ask you something?
Let me say, next week. Now, I wanted this session to happen already, so that I know what you more interested in, what you want to get from these sessions, because these sessions are about you. So if I know that you guys letting it close, and yes, we will do the content for this module, but then I will make sure that the examples are more aligned with what you want to get from these sessions. Hopefully, making sense. I don't know. Tena, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, I just wanted to ask you one thing about the types of vocabulary that you mentioned earlier. About you mentioned that there are 3 types of vocabulary, which is the academic, general, and technical. So what I wanted to just understand from you is, in a language like isiXhosa, where my vocabulary is still poor, does it apply in the same way where I might know, like in English, I know a lot of general vocabulary? Is it the same thing also in Xhosa, where there can be a lot of general vocabulary, but then there are just those key words or key like technical, like if you know certain words, does it help you in a way? I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, I didn't get all the, but what I said about I said all academic texts have 3 vocabularies: the academic, the general, and in the technical vocabulary, all academic texts in all the languages. So in isiXhosa, there are the words that are used in academic texts written in isiXhosa are not the words that we use every day when we're watching sport, soapies, when we read novels, and so if you're reading academic text in isiXhosa, you're gonna bump into words like iphonetiki.
No, I think I understand. You've answered me just understanding that if like the reading of the Xhosa and English, like in terms of English having so much of it being general knowledge, but if you just fail to understand a specific word, it affects your understanding of the comprehension. So you've just answered me that it also applies also in isiXhosa. That's just what I wanted to kind of understand.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Mildred, you wanna say something?
I think this session was very helpful. So now
Okay.
I'm going to tackle my studies differently from the way I've been doing. And maybe if I don't know, do we have a specific focus for next week so that at least we come prepared and we're not just recipients of knowledge, but we'll be able to engage?
Listen, I will take your student numbers. I need to engage with the next unit to plan what next session is gonna be about.
Okay.
I just wanted to start with reading comprehension so that everything you read, to understand the importance of understanding everything you read, every word, because our mistake is that we see one word that we don't understand, and then we use the other words in that sentence to guess what that word means, which is not very. Guessing is one method of processing information, but it's very important that you understand words in academic text. Understanding is very important. The scholars I'm talking about, they were saying in the text I read, they were saying you need 98%. You need to understand at least 98% to understand what the text is about.
Yeah.
So that tells you how much vocabulary you need to have. Of course, you're not gonna have that much vocabulary. Even English first language speakers do not understand everything that they read. That's why they have dictionaries. That's why when I'm studying, is it Xhosa, when I'm reading Xhosa text, I need dictionaries because I do not speak the language that is used in those texts every day.
Okay.
So even though it's my home language, it's still kind of foreign, the language that is used.
Okay. Thank you.
So
I really appreciated this session.
I'm glad. So guys, I'm going to take your student numbers and then prepare for next week's session. I will send you the I will let you know where you need to what you need to read to prepare for the session and all that stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's meet next week. Same.
Sorry, sir.
Huh?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh yes. I'm sorry, man. I attended a bit late. I was still on the road, but I was with guys all the way. What I wanted to know was, because the thing is, I struggled a bit with my assignment, the second one.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if is it possible for, or maybe there was a session on it, or I missed it, because there are a few questions that I don't get. Like there are a few parts I don't get from the assignment. Some parts that I don't understand. For example, like translating the sentence. Then from the sentence you take out the thing essence, because I know essence is a doing word. Then there is VC or SCVs, the other stuff. I wanted to know if is it possible to go through the assignment, or maybe some of the questions from the assignment.
Okay, if you all agree, we can do the assignments next week.
Yes, Mr. Putte, I agree. I failed my assignment, so I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, next week we're doing the assignment, and then, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So let's meet next week. Have a good evening, you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Putte. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all for training. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
I'm going to send you communication.